There was a plug halfway out here.
Now it's moving.
Okay. Just face the microphone partly out.
That'll do it. Hey, Sean. Sean.
So you're pointing back.
Yeah, he's walking around. Yeah.
Yes, Sean, I do. Good time to grow up, right? Summertime.
Was it a good haul?
Great haul.
Yeah?
Jimmy was really excited.
Good.
A lot of cleaning supplies.
I guess Jimmy's related to Matt, who set this up. I guess he has with some family in common. Did I see me over here? Maybe something more. Public comment on the document today.
Yes. It's haunted.
This is a ghost.
Oh, Aaron?
Hello, Rich.
Hi.
How are you?
I use them all the time, but on this screen, however you have it, I don't see the option to mute and unmute, and I also don't see the turn on the camera option.
All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to promote you to panelist.
Okay.
So it may give you some more options. I think as an attendee, Rich, that might be why. There you
All
are.
right, but I can turn things on. Without being a panelist, I have no options.
Right, I think that's what it is as an attendee. Sorry about that. Michelle, do you want to say testing just so I can see?
I wish we had a process of
Testing, testing. Can you hear?
I can hear a little when the echo is kind of thin, but I can hear.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay this time?
Yes.
Excellent.
Roger, we're learning that record.
Okay. Hey, I heard that,
Now, where is Rich seeing this from? We don't have the owl.
The owl speakers are not working. It's very screen. So I have the speaker from the new system.
Where is Rich, by the way? We should have a map. And we should,
Oh, where is it?
yeah.
Where's I rolled it?
That's right. Global.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order and welcome you to the Hampton-Wilbraham Regional School District School Committee meeting. It is 6:30 p.m. I see that David Sanders from Wilbraham Public Access is recording. Is there anyone else here recording this meeting? We will do roll call in alphabetical order. Bill Bontempi. Cheryl Caruana. Here. Sean Kennedy.
Here.
Lisa Murray.
Here.
Rich Rediker.
Here.
Mike Tirabassi.
Here.
Michelle Boudreau. Here. If you would please stand, Cheryl will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have the need for executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, C, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigations, including Kevin Edward Landers, individually and on behalf of all other persons similarly situated versus Hampton-Wilbraham Regional School District, Hampton County Superior Court, CA number 2379CV00338. Et al. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
Second, or so moved.
Second.
All right, so we will do roll call.
Actually, I do have a question about this. If we are going in to discuss this litigation about that person individually versus the HWRSD, do they have a right to be part of that executive session? If we're talking about employees and their employment, I know they are.
This doesn't have anything to do with the character competence of the individual.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we will do roll call. Cheryl? Sean?
Aye.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rich?
Here, and nobody else is around me.
Mike?
Yes, and there's no one else in the room that can hear.
Okay. And myself, so we are now moving to executive session 6:32.
I'm not sure that, are we only supposed to be able to see the roof? That's how the camera's aimed? I'm not sure to clue this in. So Rich, I've noticed this with the remote. The remote hookup is not good. If you want to have a better picture of what you're doing, go to the public meeting. So you have to use this to be able to talk and have them see you. But then if you go to the YouTube link on the public meeting posting, like on a different electronic device, I have my iPad next to me here, then the YouTube video shows you kind of a better panoramic of the room and the screen that the projector is on. But we don't really have a true hybrid system right now that, lets you really kind of engage and see what's going on in the room. So thank you for the advice. Yeah. But yeah, usually Erin has at least pointed at her and said this. It's better
Because we're in executive session, they shouldn't be talking.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, you're not going to speak. I think you're going to turn your audio and your video off, and they're going to put you on speakerphones.
Rich, I just tried to call you. My phone was rejected, so if we can answer the call, I will set it up.
You got that? Rich, you have to unmute.
I'm going to call you. I have a cough, so sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay, he's going to call you. Give me a thumbs up when he says do it. No call, Rich?
No call? I haven't already received the call either.
You didn't receive a call either? Okay, I'm just going to go. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
They need to be off Zoom and John's calling them.
Okay, so they...
Yeah.
Okay, get him off Zoom and then, okay.
Yeah.
There's...
John needs to call them.
All right, gentlemen, my fault. I have to shut the Zoom down, and then they'll call you. We can't be open like this when they call you. So I'm going to shut the Zoom down. Can I guess I'm wondering if, no, I'll shut it down and I'll restart it. Okay, then they're gonna call you.
Well,
Okay?
okay, sounds good. I think you would just kick us out, we can leave.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're still recording the other.
How do they do executive session minutes if you're not here?
I'm not in executive session. The secretary does it, Sean.
Oh. I wasn't sure how that worked.
Aaron, we're good?
That's it?
Are we good?
Oh, yeah, I ended it. No more Zoom.
Okay. So,
We just heard this thing about a news report about how there are a lot of sharks out around Cape Cod and everything.
yeah.
So I told my boyfriend, oh yeah, we're going to go out to the beach. And he's just like, but the shark.
Well, especially just after Shark Week.
I was like, we'll be fine. It's actually probably going to be a little too cold to go in the water. It's only supposed to be about 76 out there.
Yeah, still, the water might be warmer.
Might be. But he was like, but we just heard the thing. I'm like, I think I'll be all right. If I see any fins, I'll.
Yeah.
So funny.
Probably more concerned about swimming in all the raw sewage that got put around the thing than I am about a shark.
What happened?
About all the raw sewage. You know how the Connecticut River,
Oh.
Bonnie's Island lets go every little while, but because of the flooding up north, everything up in New Hampshire and Vermont, it was just spilling over. We have antiquated sewer systems, so everything was just spilling out,
Right.
and it went down the Connecticut River and into all the beaches. There were 78 beaches
Right.
in Massachusetts that were closed last 2 weeks because of it. So, and over on Cape Cod, people were canceling their
I saw saw how brown the Connecticut was.
Oh, yeah, well,
And how terrible looking it was.
yeah.
And that must be what it was from, but,
It was probably just from rushing water, but I think it was just, and then all that sewage went down into the ocean, so the Connecticut shores and the 78 beaches and the Massachusetts shores were all.
we'll have to take a look.
My wife used to do the dragon boat on the river.
Oh, really?
They haven't been able to do it all year.
Yeah,
Pretty much,
yeah.
because it overflowed almost every day.
Wow.
So, from oil, strength,
Well, look at the marina, that just got ruined,
Yeah.
totally ruined.
and then, Brunel's, and the owner just passed away sometime.
Probably from all the stress.
And
Can't
probably-
imagine.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, that guy's whole life,
Yeah.
his whole livelihood is gone. That was terrible.
I didn't have dinner. Those are cute little sandals.
Thanks, I got these years ago at Dress Barn. So I miss all my, there's no place to shop,
I know it.
you know? There's just nothing. There's Dress Barn's gone and. I do like Marshalls and TJ Maxx though.
My mom actually used to work for TJ Maxx warehouses,
Mm-hmm.
and she said there were a lot of really nice stuff that came through there, but I don't know. Every time I go, I'm just not thrilled with anything I see. You know what I mean?
You have to be in the mood to just pick through it too.
Yeah. But I'm also not going to buy something unless I love it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's true.
I don't know.
Hopefully this is a short meeting.
Huh?
Hopefully this is a short meeting.
I was torn whether to come here tonight or watch from my bunny slippers at home. But the last meeting, there was something wrong. The camera wasn't picking it up or something in the first, 10 minutes.
Yeah, they had,
I didn't want to lose anything, you know?
yeah. Do you go on WPA, Wilbraham Public Access Channel? Okay, go under that, go under Wilbraham Public Access Channel, go on Videos on Demand, and look for the school committee meeting, because a lot of times.
But
when-
it's not up for,
I
almost
know,
a week.
I know, I had to, I know, when she forgets to send me the thing, I have to wait a week before I can start
My
on my minutes.
deadlines don't allow for that much
Yeah.
lag, unfortunately. I have watched them there in the past.
Mhm.
Normally, I almost always watch them live though, because it does take a while.
Mhm.
Some towns, it's up within, 10 minutes of the meeting
The meeting,
finishing.
yeah,
And I don't know how they do that,
I have no idea either.
but Long Meadow is like that. East Long Meadow takes a little bit longer, but not much. It's up within a day.
Oh, are their meetings just as long?
Long Meadow's meetings are incredibly long.
Incredible. And what
2.5 to 3.5 hours every single time,
That's what ours,
sometimes longer.
that's what ours used to be.
I remember.
Yeah. What about East Long Meadow?
Their meetings are usually 2-ish hours.
Yeah, they get a lot going on now with the new school and
That's,
stuff.
to me, that's perfectly fine. I can,
2 hours.
two to
Just
2.5
remember
hours.
it's recording.
Yeah.
What?
This is recorded.
Yeah,
Okay, just want to be sure.
but 2 to 2.5 hours, I can see that. If it gets longer than 2.5, then I feel like I should probably split it up and have more frequent meetings.
Mm-hmm.
But not every town can do that. It all depends what's going on.
And do all of them start at 6:30? No.
No, Long Meadow almost always starts at 7, and most of them start at 6. 6
Oh,
is a
really?
pretty standard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good, it's fine.
6 is nice when it's darker out. Like when we turn the clocks back, it's nice to start at 6. So,
I do like it though when I leave a meeting and it's still light out and I'm like,
Mhm.
woohoo,
I know.
yay.
it's true. It is nice. I love this daylight savings.
But,
So you got your computer, you're not just using your trusty pad, huh?
This I actually brought in because I figured they'd be an executive session, and if it goes on long enough, I can type up some notes.
Okay.
But here I am talking instead.
I know, of course.
I was just talking to my boyfriend, we were talking about, because we have to buy an appliance, and we were talking about, you know, like, can we get it in the car, can we this and that? He's like, well, you're gonna have to ride in the trunk.
Are you gonna buy it this weekend, tax-free weekend?
Tax-free weekend, yep. Yep, it just went, so now's the
good.
time. But appliances don't last nearly as long as they used to. My goodness.
No, they don't. Neither does furniture.
They make it for less, you know, it's more inexpensive, and it doesn't last as long. But, you know, if you can buy a toaster for $6, that's gonna last you a year and a half, 2 years, or a toaster for $20 that's gonna last you 20 years, people are gonna go with the 6. But they get more money that way, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
because you gotta buy it more frequently. So in the long run, it's called planned obsolescence. Yep. That's a nice quote. A movie grants you a visa, a book makes you a citizen. Interesting. These two guys pushing a car through traffic at the East Long Meadow Rotary this morning, because apparently the car died.
Oh.
And I felt so bad for them having to go through that, pushing it. You know, everybody was really nice and let them go,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was great. But at the same time, I was like, oh,
Those poor guys.
I felt so bad for them. Like, if you got to push a car, that stinks. I've done that. But through the road. Ugh.
Looks like they're done. There they go.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, thanks.
Okay, we are going to continue with the Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Operations, and Human Resources, Aaron.
It's point of order that Dr. Bontempi has joined us.
Alrighty, mic seems to be working. So going through my items one by one, you have before you a couple financial reports. The first is fiscal 23, and you will see that all but 4 accounts are fully closed out. We are awaiting some invoices from a couple different vendors to close things out. You know, nothing tremendous. You'll see, including the encumbrances, I think last time I said I felt like we'd come in around 250,000. To the good, we are $263,793 to the good. It's altogether possible. I believe the encumbrance, the top encumbrance for district-wide technology, those are based on estimates, so we may come to the good on that a little bit as well. Those are copier invoices we're expecting, and typically our copier use is lower in June. Any questions on that? Okay. Fiscal '24 is still in its infancy, so bear with the fact that there are many items that still need to be encumbered. You will see a few items that may stand out as being in the red this early. I'll just touch on those. We've got a couple items, for example, our Destiny library software came in higher. They had a price increase. We'll rebudget that next year that we weren't expecting. In a few cases, we've had some price increases. Very small normal variance in instructional coaches. That's a fully encumbered salary line that shouldn't change unless there's staffing changes. Definitely as we look at professional development stipends, we are doing work towards the strategic plan there, money that wasn't necessarily expected to be spent when we were doing the budget. So, that's kind of falling in there. We'll work out how to pay for that. Again, we had some special education software that took that instructional software line up. Nothing tremendous. Again, something we can actually cover on ESSER. Technology salaries, that's a normal variance. Occasionally we have some ticks up and down in salary. And then finally, we had a big increase in our property insurance this year, $26,000. That's a 13% increase. We didn't find it out until July. We will rebudget for that next year and plan accordingly. Otherwise, we're still pending a lot of encumbrances, looking at things, but most of our salaries are pretty well encumbered, except for some vacancies. We'll probably be running and filling vacancies, right up to the wire, as happens every year. So I'm not sure those will be complete until that point. Any questions there?
So you're saying the insurance company came to us in July saying, starting now, it's $20,000 more for the year?
Yeah.
They didn't give any, isn't there like something legal notice they're supposed to give us or something?
No. They put it out and, yeah, so we have a broker who puts it out to a couple different vendors to get the best price, and that's what we came with.
Oh, so you put it out, it wasn't like a present company just...
No, it's not always a present company, so I think it is the same company as last time, but they look for the best price for us, and they look at multiple vendors.
Are we potentially subject to that every year, or is the insurance contract for a few years?
It's a year to year. It's year by year. We don't typically have increases. It really has to do with the same things we're facing. Every single time we go out to bid for contracts, it's significantly higher than we expected. There are supply chain delays every time we try to do work. It's become the nature of the industry right now, and that property line is our property insurance line. So everything in that industry has shot up. The cost of all repairs and replacement and things like that. So, if this building were to burn to the ground, what the insurance value of that would be and the cost to replace it. Anything else? Okay. Next item. We talked about this the other week in executive session, and it has come to fruition. We have a MOA that has been signed by the teachers union. So if we have a vote to approve the MOA, these are the same stipends we talked about. Michelle can sign the MOA and we will be good to go.
Make a motion to accept the memorandum of agreement between the Hamden-Wilbraham Regional School District and the Hamden-Wilbraham Educational Association.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? Okay, we'll do roll call. Bill?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And myself, aye. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
And finally, railing update. So the railing project is out to bid with a closing date of August 16th, 2023. So that's a couple weeks. We did decide to break that bid down into a base bid for the area out here in front of the library, including the stairwell, and then the other, I think it's 4 additional areas as alternate bids. So much like I just mentioned with the property insurance, everything we put out to bid and our consultants, the people who do the design consulting, help us with this, have said that everything they're doing is coming in way above what they expected. So we're just concerned that if we put the whole thing out in one piece, it may be over our budget or potentially significantly above the budget. So at the very least, we could engage on the first and most pressing piece, get that done, and then address the other areas later if we had to. Or if we had the funds, we could do 2 of 4 or 3 of 4, whatever, sort of permutation of that was necessary. Does that make sense? We did have a walkthrough, a site visit yesterday for prospective bidders. A single vendor showed up, which kind of speaks to the challenges we're facing. It's hard even to get vendors out for site visits. It doesn't mean that we won't get more bidders. There may be bidders who are familiar with the school or comfortable with the plans as we provided. So we might get bids separate from that. Once we have the bids in, our goal is to try to commence work immediately. The goal would be to try to do some work before the beginning of the school year, if at all possible. And if not, to try to arrange it nights, weekends, things like that, so we can minimize the disruption to students.
What exactly are they doing then?
Say again?
What exactly are they doing?
She wants to know what exactly are they doing.
Oh, okay. So it's putting up, so we've had some incidents with the railings on the 2nd floor and students coming down, for lack of a better word. And we'll be putting in a barrier that extends up. It'll be a plexiglass on steel barrier that goes up, I believe, 7+ feet. Yep.
Aaron, so it's going to be just plain plexiglass, or is there at this point an artistic vision for it in terms of the aesthetics that we're asking for the vendors, or are we asking the vendors to provide sketches and diagrams for the artistic vision that they intend to realize?
We've provided the design, the intended design for that. So we've worked with a designer who's created a design that will work with the aesthetics. I mean, at the end of the day, we're putting up 7 feet of plexiglass, which will change the aesthetics. We looked at a couple different options when we're talking about trying to maintain the aesthetics and really guard against potential concerns. That seemed like the best option.
Okay, at some point I'd love to see the sketches from that.
Sure, we can get that for you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Erin. Okay, we'll move on to old business. School committee meeting scheduled for the 23-24 school year. So just discussion and vote on that. Can everyone please just make note on September 6th, Wednesday, September 6th, there's a meeting. So if you can check your schedules, Tuesday, September 19th. And then there is another Wednesday meeting on May 15th. So just be aware of those changes on your schedule. But I know Erin will have our calendars updated with all of the dates. So the first meeting of every month will be here in the IRC at Minnetonka Regional High School, and then the other dates the other locations will be determined as the dates become closer.
Is there a reason why we changed it to Wednesday on the 6th of September and the 15th of May?
Yes.
Those are both conflicts with other school events, I think, open houses.
Awesome, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions on the schedule? Okay. This is something that we need to vote on.
I make a motion to accept the schedule for the HWRSD school committee meetings for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
Okay. Questions? Okay. We'll do roll call vote. Bill?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Lisa? Aye. Rich?
Yes, was it the 21st, change to 20th?
Excuse me?
Did you change September 21st to September 20th?
No. It's, that will be Tuesday, September 19th.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay, and myself, yes. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. We will continue with old business and the Booster Club update.
All I have to report is that Mr. DeGorzio has reached out to me and Michelle to request a meeting to discuss next steps with the Booster Club. We're trying to find a time that works for the three of us, and we'll report back to the committee after we have that discussion.
Do we have any resolution with council with regards to oversight?
Not yet.
Thank you.
It is now time for public comment. Sarah, would you like to make a public comment this evening? Okay, so we will move on. We'll move on to the subcommittee updates. We'll just go through as point of order. Curriculum subcommittee, not probably nothing to report. Planning subcommittee, the only update that I have is that we will be meeting September 12th. That's a Tuesday at 5:30 in the district conference room. And I don't,
I wasn't.
okay. And there will be some community meeting times next week to discuss the planning committee's 4 options that have been presented for anyone that's interested in attending. And they are Monday at the Hampton Public Library at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11.
Tuesday at Rice's.
Okay. Tuesday at Rice's. And then Wednesday at Zoom. Sorry.
Yeah, Rice's at 9 a.m.
Okay. So that's Monday, 10 o'clock in the morning at Hampton Public Library, Tuesday, 9 a.m. at Rice's. And then Wednesday, it's Zoom. Is that at 6 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. So
I have it as August 15th.
August 15th,
6
on Zoom
o'clock.
Okay.
at 6 o'clock, and that's available, the link will be available on the district website. Okay, so moving on. So finance and operations. What are we talking about?
So I can report that Nick Bro has reached out to us about the need for a special town meeting in the fall, and we responded that that is a need the school district foresees to address the issue of capital needs. One of the questions I guess I would have for the subcommittee is whether they would like to, since it's been reconstituted, to have a meeting just to review the priorities before we send them for that meeting.
I think we all need, organizational meetings at the least. I think including planning. We'll be doing that on the 12th.
The planning, I do not believe we're reorganizing.
We don't have to reorganize every year.
And that's why we didn't invite new members to, because we have 2 select people and then 2 new members.
Okay.
But all the other subcommittees will be reorganizing. So for people that are on the finance subcommittee, so that's Sean and Mike and myself. So we're discussing having a meeting to review their priorities. Well, Sean's here. Mike, are you there? Okay, well, we can determine that in an email perhaps and see if
You guys can talk about that.
votes.
I
Okay.
think all the subcommittees can just talk about organization meetings online.
Have you had any updates with LP then?
No.
Okay, so we will continue with the consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Bill?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Sean?
Aye.
Lisa? Aye. Rich?
Rich, we made a motion to accept the consent agenda. Did you hear that?
They're still on. We couldn't hear them.
Rich is still, hold on. Try again.
Just temporarily unmuted. I can hear you fine, Rich, but I think that Aaron's done something to screw up the sound.
Yeah.
So you will hear me, Aaron?
I put it back. I'm
We
trying to
can hear
this.
you. We can hear you both now.
Now you can. Okay, cool. Okay.
So Rich, that was a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
You might not hear each other, that's about it.
Mike?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Myself, yes. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to the superintendent's update.
I'm actually going to move my seat while you change the technology because we have some things to share with you that require the other computer.
Well, that's the problem. When I switch to my computer, I lose the sound for the, so I'm going to try to put it on this computer so we have it all on one. So Rich and
Okay.
Mike will be here. All right, guys, let's see.
I'm still going to move.
I almost feel like I should be saying goodbye now, right?
All right, yeah, I'm too nervous to do that. I'm just going to try my Zoom on this. See if I can get through this one. Sorry about that.
You thought it was.
I think you have to become host there.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Look at that's the one I was looking for. Thank you. All righty. Share my strategic plan.
Okay, that looks good. Oh, you lost it. Can you go back to that? There we go.
All right, is everybody there? Can you hear me?
First of all, kudos on figuring that out with cameras rolling and everything else. So let me begin by thanking whoever it was on the strategic planning committee who said it would be important to create a schematic of intersections among the DEI, safety, SEL, and climate priorities. We scheduled creating this schematic as a year 2 activity, so I'd like to submit this as the first work product of SP 2.0, or Strategic Plan Year 2. As you can see from this graphic, there's a good deal of overlap between the priorities identified in the strategic plan and those that emerged from the equity audit. I'd like to direct your attention to the intersection of these two sets, which is what I see as the sweet spot for our growth as a learning community. For sure, we have to address everything in this diagram, but the items in the center are the maximum points of leverage. These are things that we identified as priorities for our own improvement, which we're also seeing as crucial improvement needs by the team that conducted the equity audit. To name them, they are implementing a multi-tiered system of supports, getting better at disaggregated data use and deepening our data culture, providing professional development better aligned to the needs of staff and school and school improvement goals, combating harassment and bullying, enhancing feedback and communication, implementing inclusive hiring practices, developing and documenting and aligning curriculum, and creating a sense of coherence among the many priorities that have now been laid on the table. This diagram is one tool that I'd like to offer to provide clarity and coherence for the school community. As I've mentioned many times, I have concerns about the 100 action steps in the strategic plan, and the equity audit contains its own list of approximately 50 recommendations. This graphic attempts to simplify the future priorities of the district by grouping and subsuming initiatives under more inclusive themes. It also identifies the duplications, which are about 50% of the content of the two documents, and that serves to further collapse the number of priorities we're working on. Finally, it provides an implementation timeline to give everyone a sense of what to expect over the next 4 years. So I remain a little concerned about the amount of front-loading in this timeline, just as I was concerned about the amount of front-loading in the strategic plan itself. But since this is inclusive of the original plan, it seems that was an inevitable outcome. I'd like to find some way to accelerate the creation of a theory of change. However, the work plan for this next year is already so packed. And to be honest, they tell superintendents that you can really do 3 initiatives a year, and you should really only plan 2 because a third unknown will force its way onto your plate. So we've got our hands full. As you can see, we're planning to egregiously violate that rule next year, but we also did that this year. And speaking of our current year initiatives, let me take you on a tour of our new website as it stands now. We estimate we're about at 80% completion, so with Aaron's help, I'll move on to the show and tell portion of my report.
Hey, Aaron, before you switch the slide, I just have a question for you.
Sure.
I plugged it because I have to put my power.
Well, we all have a graph.
Okay.
That's okay.
The one thing that I didn't see on the strategic plan in terms of the things that were of most concern is we talked about the vocational training. So I don't know if you have that listed under something else, but I don't want that to get lost because that was clearly one of the bigger pieces that people expressed concerns about.
Sure, I can explain why it's not there. This really looks at the next 4 years, which are years 2 to 5 of the strategic plan, and expanding vocational opportunities for students is something that we took care of in year 1, with the change of making vocational options available for 9th grade students, which essentially doubled the amount of students we have enrolled in LVPEC.
I have just one comment, and it's a nitpicking one, but strategic plan equity auditing between us and MTSS. MTSS is so vital to what we do. I think it should be in bold letters.
Okay, we can do that. It's also something we have lined up for next year because I agree with you, it is vital. Okay, now to the website. So we're going to start with the district splash page.
Oh, wonderful.
While I'm setting that up, I just want to give a shout out to Brendan Stodden, who's been our person helping us. He's done a great job. So this is the top. This is what you'll see first when you land on the new website. And I think this just shows the life of the district. You know, our old website is static, it's buildings. It's not what school is all about. School is people, and this new website hits you with that right up in front. So scrolling down, We next hit our mission statement with a good representation of the mission, the people who were pursuing the mission on behalf of, which is our students, and the people who help them achieve that, which is our teachers and paraprofessionals. Core values. And then we start to try to put some of the most requested information on the front page. The handbook on our current website, I think, occurs at least 15 different instances. So the idea on the new website was to put it up front somewhere where everyone can see it, find it easily, and only do it once instead of cluttering it up. One of the concepts that came up as we started talking about our current website is digital littering, and we don't want to be digital litter bugs on our new website. And then at the bottom, you'll see the district news and upcoming events, which will be fed by Plus portals. So as school staff are putting out information to parents, if they click to include the information on our website, this place will keep refreshing. Also, the Plus portals forces you to choose an end date for your announcement, so the announcements will have to end instead of, some of the stuff that we have on our current website is how we plan to deal with COVID and things like that really don't belong there anymore. Okay, so next, I think, what are we going to next here?
About.
Okay, about. So this is what the about page looks like. Again, we try to carry that feel through so that, minimizing the verbiage on each of the websites and focusing really on the visual assets that show you what our district is all about. And here's where we have our strategic plan surrounded by this vision of how we're going to reach success implementing our strategic plan. Okay, now going to academics. Statement of excellence right up front. And I think here we're going to look at some examples of how we want to make the curriculum more transparent and readily accessible to the community. So we have our programs of study right here, all of them in this single sort of section. Each one of those is a clickable link which will take you to the current program of studies. And then, for example, if you clicked on learn more about CCAL-A, there would be quick access for parents to get information about what our curriculum is all about. I think if you just go back to the website now. Same thing with illustrative mathematics. You can find information about that curriculum. And then we have information about all of our specialized classrooms instead of segregating that into a separate part of the website, including it with the rest of the content about academics. Really sort of the signal that special education is a part of the academic program, it's not a separate thing. And then I thought you'd want to take a look at how the school committee page looks. And so your norms right up in front. Your information. And the minutes. And the minutes are very easily accessible to the public. You just click and it takes you right to a Google Drive where you can find them all. So, we're not going to flip through all of the pages, but I wanted to give you sort of an example that I would say the district portion of the website is basically built out or focused on bringing the development to the schools. We do have an example of a school, so we'll take you, see what that would look like. So you have the same kind of idea. It starts with a movie. And then what I really like about this is when you look in the school staff and classrooms, get a much better idea of who the faculty are that are supporting the kids. You go into classrooms, and you just click on any of them. So all the staff are there. You can see who they are. It's not just, letters and email addresses, but a sense of who they are. Not everyone has a picture taken, so they're not all there, but they're also organized by grade level. So I think it just creates such a more inviting environment for parents and such a more worthy representation of the work we do in our schools. So I'm really happy about the way that work on the website is turning out, and I hope you are too. And that's my report. Thank you.
If I could make a suggestion to have someone go through and check the spelling, because I did notice one place where it said download and
Sure.
and such like that.
Yep.
So just double checking.
Yep.
It's always good.
Do we have a webmaster for the district?
Technically, we don't. We have a team of people. It's the website review and evaluation team that have been doing all the work on this. And I would say that the tasks are divided among that group. No single individual is sort of the quarterback. Probably the person who's been most hands-on with this is Brandon Sodden, who I had mentioned a minute ago. He's been sort of helping us achieve the revision. He works for ReadySite, and he knows more about the way this works than any of us. He will be with us at the final day of the administrative retreat next week to do training for administrators, and then there'll be some follow-up training for the other staff who help to maintain the site. One of the things I like about this when I'm talking about maintaining the site is most of this goes back to Google Drive. So instead of having to understand how to get into the website and use all the different tools within the website to make changes, it's mostly going to be a process of changing things within Google Drive that causes the change to show up on the website.
That was my thinking, because I could tell from the pictures that there were some teachers up there who retired last spring. So I was wondering if there was a dedicated person that kind of punches that all out.
Well, the great part about that is all of those faculty pictures are connected to Rediker, which is the system we use for information management. So when things flip over to the next year, it should automatically update the website. So you don't have to have a person going through. I mean, there will be a gap because it happens once a year and people change sometime during the course of the year, but you won't get people who've retired 2, 3, 4 years ago.
And I assume that it has a mobile version. I just want to guess, when are we launching this?
That's a part of the discussion next week. Part of this I've learned is about reaching critical mass because your website is never really done. So the question is, when is it done enough?
It's a living, breathing organism. Right. You're always going to work on it.
Right. The one thing that I think is making us not quite ready for prime time yet is that we don't have the other schools there. We've got Mile Tree set up to go, but I think once we get the rest of the schools set up in a similar format, then we can flip the switch, and I think that'll be the end of August or beginning of September.
So I love the way you've organized it in terms of accessibility. I think it's far cry from what we had. Certainly a lot easier to navigate, and it's a lot more direct. The only comment that I would make is, and I don't know if, I'm sure this is just programming, there's a lot of white on the pages. And from a visual interest perspective, white generally tends to kind of bore people. So I know that in websites that I've been involved in, they try to bring in as much color as they can in order to facilitate sort of keeping visual interest.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing that I would think.
Thanks.
Is there a sandbox that you could share with us? A place where we can go and mess around and look into it and stuff? Those websites?
We can share the sample websites if that's what you're requesting. Yeah. I can have Aaron email everyone the 2 sample websites, one for the whole district and one for just Mile Tree.
I think the only comment I'd make, number one, I'd like to say to everyone working on the website, it's really looking awesome. I really love how it looks, and I see how it's a huge improvement from what we've had. I hear words about this maybe being ready to go live at the end of August, beginning of September. I think probably the website might get a lot of traffic with people needing questions answered around the beginning of the school year. So, it might be, at some point, I think you gotta jump off the cliff. It's either the website's ready to go and up, like, at least a week before school's gonna start, or, drag your feet until, end of September, October, when there's not gonna be a lot of crazy questions and parents, maybe new to the district, needing information and stuff. And maybe the only thing I'd point out in terms of when to go live.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. So moving on to future agenda items, we still have what do we value, what will education look like in 5 years, transportation, the rec department, athletics, the regional agreement modifications, Booster Club, anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to add, can we actually bring it to the next meeting and talk about the technology and how we can integrate with Zoom? Can we talk with our vendor where we got these microphones from and see if there's any hardware or something that we could, integrate to have a special PC maybe, for people who are on Zoom, just so we don't have these, and I know Aaron's doing a great job. I mean, I get it with what you have, but just to make it easy for Aaron, especially. Oh, and one other quick thing. Aaron, I think by accident you typed in your password, your password for Google. So as this is streaming and stuff like that, I would recommend, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but in my world it does happen. So if you can go and change that today, for your benefit. Thank you.
On top of that, Sean, we use a device called the Owl, and I can load it if I have it. We don't use it all the time in our office. And it's a camera that sits on a tripod in the middle of like that view, and it automatically focuses on whoever's speaking. So I don't know if we have one of those. It makes it so you see the whole layout, everybody, and then you can see anybody speaking automatically.
We do own an owl. We've retired the owl.
Our own is at the bed right now.
But the newest ones are really, really good. It's just my comment. I'd like to say thank you, and I second what you said, Sean. It'd be nice to brainstorm if we could improve things. It's my hope to be there in person, but certain viruses have gotten their way today at least. So, but thank you, Sean, for bringing that up.
Okay. Perfect.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Bill?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Sean?
Aye.
Lisa? Aye. Rich?
Aye.
Mike?
Yeah.
Myself, aye. We are adjourned at 7:29. Thank you.